Hey everyone, this is Matt with the Fundamental Investing Institute. Thank you for tuning in today. We're going to do another video today on SMB cash flows. SMB is small to medium-sized businesses, and we're talking about cash flow, particularly when we buy a business and we use borrowed money in order to do it. And in the last video, we introduced a metric called normalized free cash flow. And we think about normalized free cash flow in two broad scenarios. One is a scenario in which the business is not growing, so it's just being run at a steady state. And we have another scenario in which the business is growing and we're putting money back into the business in order to support that. So today's video, we're going to talk about normalized free cash flow when the business is at a steady state. So we are just running the business more or less in its current state. We are not reinvesting. We're not buying additional assets or buying a bigger facility or anything. So we calculate this metric called normalized free cash flow in this scenario as follows. We start with EBITDA. Now, EBITDA, as we defined in previous videos, that stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And what we want is we want a measure in which we're adding back non-operating expenses and we're putting aside any financing costs. And the reason is we want a cash flow measure that's going to be available for all capital providers. So we start with EBITDA and then we normalize it. By normalize it, we make adjustments for any non-recurring income sources or any non-recurring expense sources. So this is kind of a line-by-line analysis. And then from that, we're going to subtract a reserve for maintenance CapEx. Now, maintenance CapEx, these are the expenditures we need in order to replace the assets that the company owns. We're not buying additional assets. We're not expanding operating capacity. We're just kind of replacing assets as they grow old and need to be disposed of, vehicles and other types of equipment. They don't last forever. They have to be we have to purchase new ones every so often. So we want a provision for maintenance CapEx. The actual expenditures for maintenance CapEx can be very lumpy. So what we want is we want what we call a capital reserve. And a capital reserve is going to be an average of the expenditures that we're going to make over time. So we want a measure that's sort of indicative of the business in a steady state and kind of an average year. And that measure is much better to use to value the business and understand the economic benefits that business is going to give. And that's really how the lenders are going to think about it too. So if you are using borrowed money and you have to, present this information to lenders, these are the things that they're going to ask as well. But certainly for the purpose of buying the business, buying the equity in the business, that's the measure that you want to focus on. In the next video, we'll talk about how we think about normalized free cash flow in a scenario in which the business is growing. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.